Welcome everybody to Silverstone, the British GP. We have 12 runners today, or drivers I should say. I say that every week, don't I? Some familiar faces, and it looks like we have a couple of new ones, and some that haven't raced in a little while, so we'll get to know those races again as well. Eye Contrast is back this week. We can see him at the top of the list. Like it's going to be a sunny qualifying and it should be a good race. Only one Renault this time and no racing points, which will be interesting for the Constructors' Championship. So a really good opportunity for Plevs to score some points for Renault and try and break away from Racing Point. They're second and third in the Constructors' Championship, and we'll have a look at that a little later on. Whoa, in qualifying we just saw a lot of ghosted cars as everyone comes out of the pits for the first time. And if I'm not mistaken, don't think we have engine noise, which is a bit of a glitch. Yeah, we don't have the engine noise, which is a glitch in this year's F1. They still have not fixed that. So that we don't miss too much qualifying, what I'll do is I will get back into this game. Give me a short moment so I can reload, and hopefully we'll have engine noises when we come back. Okay, we are back and we have rectified that sound situation. As you can tell, that wonderful purring engine of the Ferrari Eye Contrast going around the track at the moment, just on an outlap on the hard tyres. Our situation here, not a high degradation track, so I expect most runners to do the soft medium, unless there's rain or some sort of other issue. That'll be the key tactic for everyone. As we can see, Eye Contrast has that stylish new pumpkin helmet. I have to say I also forked out for that as well. It's pretty cool. As you can see in the just through the halo there, it's a pretty good helmet. It's one of the best ones that they've put out so far, and a definite point of difference for sure. El Tonki. Let's just go through our runners here as Chapelele puts down a 1:26.7. He's out there on soft tyres. Only a couple of runners out on the hards and a couple out on the mediums. Most are doing the softs. We'll probably only need one set, maybe two for the race. Chapalele has been a regular driver for the last few weeks now, as we see that Alfa Romeo in the background. That could be Amazing Hour there, or his teammate El Tonki. So Amazing Hour still top of the standings. And he's got a fair gap now, racing very well this season. Now we have Aaron, L3F4. I'm just going to roll with Aaron today, but he's in the Red Bull, a new driver. We'll be able to see what he's made of today. It'll be very interesting. And we're on board with the Rich Energy Haas of John Palainen. Has been one of the stars, the Finn of this Elite Series, showing us a few different tactics in regards to strategy, that's for sure, coming from the back of the grid a couple of times using alternate tyre strategies, and also a wonderful undercut in Australia. Romy Alonso, we haven't seen him in a few weeks. It's good to have him back in the McLaren. Hopefully they can score some points. They only have a couple of points, I believe. We'll check that shortly. El Tonki, a regular racer now for Alfa Romeo. He's in the pits, and I contrast. Unfortunately missed last week, but a regular as well that everyone is very familiar with in the Ferrari. He's still going around on those hard tyres, getting a feel for the track. We skipped over there. And Shumbo's in the pits, one of our new drivers, part of, I believe, the PS4 Pacific Series. He's made the jump into the Elite Series. We'll see what he's made of this time around. But races on the wheel and does very well. Recently made that move up from a couple of assists to no assists, so he's jumped in the Elite Series, which is good to see and shows that if you practice enough you can make that jump. And I recommend everyone to try dial back the assists and see how you go and get on that wheel. It's a lot more fun. Pure gold in the Toro Rosso, semi-regular. Fairly regular. Nice lime green helmet there. He's on an outlap at the moment in the softs. And we have Swaggy in the Red Bull. So 2 Red Bulls today. Good to see. Do love the Red Bull livery. And Danny D, teammate of Romy Alonso. So both McLarens, a great opportunity for them to grab some points and move themselves up the standings. We have 10 minutes to go in qualifying while there's a little bit of downtime while everyone's feeling out the track and seeing what they can be able to do. Let's switch over to current driver standings. We can see Amazing Hour at the top, 205 points. Bullet Boy with a fantastic drive last week. If you have not seen that race, I recommend you go back and watch last week's race. It was an outstanding drive. And filling in everyone who did watch last week's race and don't know that we thought Amazing Hour had a 5-second penalty when he was stuck in the pits, because when we flashed over to him there was no nose being changed, but what actually happened was we caught the back end of that and he was changing his nose because he crashed going into the pits. A rare error from our series leader, but just goes to show everyone is human and mistakes happen at some point, and it ended up costing him that race. So fine margins in the Elite Series. Jump a line in there on 105 points. Only 5 points behind Bullet Boy. He'll wanting to stabilize that position with Bullet Boy not in this race as yet. And then we have the 2 Renault drivers, Plevs and 40. Switching over to the constructor standings. Alfa Romeo out on top, 207 points. Renault trying to chase down. They only have 1 driver today, so that'll hurt them a little bit. Racing Point, no drivers today, so Renault can get that gap out on the Racing Point. Haas 106, a little work to do. As we can see, 2 McLaren drivers today, they're down on 7 points. They can make some ground on Red Bull, although Red Bull have 2 drivers today as well. So 9th and 10th in the constructors, all looking for points. We'll come back to the action now on track. And Swaggy, while we were looking at those constructor and driver standings, a set of 126, 710, 700ths of a second faster than Chapalele. I expect these times to go down a little bit more. I do believe they can get down to those low 26s, and in the time trials I have seen a high 25 maybe. I mean, if I'm mistaken, let me know in the chat, but think if they really push hard, they can get right down there on that limit. There's not too many out on track at the moment. Aaron is out on track on the softs now, so everyone's starting to move to that preferred tyre for qualifying the softs. I don't expect many alternate strategies unless someone absolutely poleaxes himself into a wall and has to start in 11th or 12th with 12 runners. Going to start inside that top 10. Jump a line and goes bang, 1:26.6. Really a big bang, just a little one. Yeah, 100th faster than Swaggy. Do a gold. And in the Toro Rosso, he'll be wanting to improve on that 1:27.3. There are a couple of other drivers who want to get a little bit higher up in the rankings than they are right now in this qualifying session. Altonki eye contrast, but he's been on that alternate tyre, so we'll see. He comes out on the softs. Goes for a hot lap. Shumbo 1:28. I know he can do better than that as well, so not everyone going their full speed at the moment. And Plebs is currently on an outlap, so this should be him starting a new lap. Going through the S-bends. Meggetts and Beckett's. Fairly iconic track here. The home of Formula One. We'll bring up the telemetry. We might go on board with Plebs when he starts his lap. Will be very shortly. We're on the wing with the wing camera, the front wing camera here. See that right-handed M plate nicely over the curbs. And he comes around the final corner, starting a lap. Let's go on board with the Renault driver Plebs. And it's normally flat through there, stays in 8th gear. A few people try and take that in 7th as comes down on the 3rd on the apex. Going to come out wide here, maybe touch first or just stay in second. Stays in 2nd there. A few people touch first just to get that little bit of nose tipping to the left before they fire it back up down this straight. 2 tricky corners here. You want to slowly go down the gears. Hit this apex here in 4th. Then come out wide and you want a late apex on the right. And he's done that nicely. 3rd, early shifting so you don't spin out. It's easy to do that on that corner and the last corner before you go to the checkered flag. Flat out down here. And a little hesitation there on the steering wheel. Will cost him a little bit of time. Let out through the first bend here. Letting off. Down into 7th. Down to 6th. And 5th around this corner. Or speeding up into the DRS zone. Another straight here. Good overtaking opportunity here because can make up time on people who make mistakes. Through Meggetts and Beckett's coming down to 6. You can take this wide without a penalty. I don't suggest you do though. And the final chicane down onto 2nd, touching that. You want a short shift up here because you can spin out extremely easily. Touching that curb. And what time is it? He didn't go faster, so those mistakes must have cost him there. We will switch to some other drivers. Swaggy's out at the moment. We might bring out the telemetry, the lap data, so we can see if people are going quicker or not. That will help everyone out at home. We might catch one of our drivers on a fast one as they're all going into the pits now. They will be wanting to come out for their final attempt at pole. Oh, just a bit of cross-country four-wheel drive action there from Swaggy. Not going to help him at all, and it won't help the floor of that Red Bull. The Amazing Hour now has the fastest lap by 1:26.5. Polainen. A bit of warning there, not sure. Levs is probably on an in lap, I would assume. Get out in time. He should be able to get in and then back out, depending on where he's on track. Possible, but he's going to be pushing it, that's for sure. That looks like Altonki in the background. He'll also be right on the limit of being able to get back in and get out again to set a lap as they both come in. will watch that with interest. There's another car in front of them as well, probably. No, Danny's on track, so this is his. This will be his last lap, I suspect. Unless this is his out lap. No, it's not his out lap. So here we go. Let's ride on board with Danny until some of those guys in the pits come back. Also takes that flat out in 8th gear. Nice on the apex there. This is a tricky. You can gain and lose a lot of time here. Not too bad. And that was pretty smooth. That was pretty smooth. I like that from the McLaren driver. I love these two corners here. Late apex into 4th. That's nicely done. You want to come out wide, and it goes against all of your instincts to come out wide there, to come back in. You want to try and take corners tight, but you really do have to let the car drift out to the left so that you can bring it back in for a late apex. Flat out here, and then you start to let off. You don't lose it. Down into 5th here. Nice. Flat out now. Try and keep as much momentum and speed up as you can into the straight. Got 126. Everyone's on the outlaps now. Keep that very tight. Probably use a bit more of the track there. And amazing how it's just come out. He's on an outlap as well. Looks like Plevs and El Tonki are going to be able to get their laps done. I don't think El Tonki's come back out. And Danny up to 8th at 127.38. Not going to have enough ERS to get a good lap in. It looks like El Tonki has called it. Jumbo, our new driver, is on an outlap. Romy Alonso is also on an outlap. Probably want to stick with these guys up the top. See where about it on the track everyone is. Amazing hour. Came out one of the last ones. As we see now, a few people have switched over. Chapelele in the Haas. Let's stick with him for a moment. So going through sector 1. Got a yellow flag. Shumbo's crashed. Shumbo is out. Oh, and there he's there. Hopefully that didn't put Chapelele off too much. As that Mercedes came back onto the track. And Amazing Hour has a checker flag. Plebs has a checker flag. He'll stay in 6th. By contrast, will stay 9th, depending on what Romy Alonso does. And I missed that sector 1 if Chapelele was up or not. But he's looking good for a 4th. Swaggy's done pretty well there in 3rd as well. We're pushing hard through Maggots and Beckett's. Down this straight, he's kept some good speed up here. And he is just slightly over his normal time, his fastest time. He'll have to make a little bit of time up here if he wants to improve. He only needs a little bit to go over Swaggy, so it is, I mean, 0.007 per second between him and Swaggy, and he's gone wide and bailed on the lap. Swaggy has tired. Pure Gold still going. Is he going to be able to improve? We'll stay with this and find out. That is qualifying. And he improved to 7th, so just a little bit. A bit of an anticlimax there. Everyone stayed relatively in their positions from 6th. The 6th minute. No one really jumped anywhere. Very tight at the top though. Look at that. Amazing Hour. Jumpline and Swaggy. Chapelele within 200ths of a second of each other. Aaron, the newcomer, 5th. He's got to be happy with that in the Red Bull. Lev, 6th. Maybe slightly disappointed with a 127 flat. I'll ask him after the race to see how we go. Pure Gold, Toro Rosso. Nicely done. And Romy Alonso, the two McLarens together, 8th and 9th on the grid in their comeback races for McLaren. iContrast on the medium, alternate strategy from iContrast. Doing something different. I like it. We always like a little bit of an alternate strategy. So, interested to know if he just thought he wouldn't be able to get near the top. So, just going with the alternate strategy out from the very beginning. If that was a considered move. Very interesting. The only one on the mediums, unless 11th and 12th decide to start on mediums as well. Altonki might do that. We will be right back. And we are back after that famous intro music from F1 this season. Gets me pumped. And I'm pumped for this Silverstone race. Here today, we're on the formation lap. F1 Amazing Hour, setting pole position is... Sorry about that, I just lost a few words there. But Jumpalainen second, he's got to be very happy with that. I think that's one of his best qualifying times and results for this season. Starting right at the front, we'll see what he's able to do. Would be a possible favourite track for Jumpalainen here. Very nice qualifying session. Swaggy, he's also right up there, so we'll see what he's able to do as well. Chapelele, he's had a few retirements. He's definitely quick, maybe a little inconsistent. We'll see if he can improve on that and finish today's race. Get some points for Haas. I mean, both Jumpalainen and Chapelele are right up there. Red Bull are right up there as well, so different outlook and a different type of livery up the front of the grid today. And we can see beautiful game this year, the F1 2019. For that, if they can improve on some of the graphics next season, that'll be interesting as well. What other things they can add? I feel this has been a great addition to the game so far. Quite an improvement on some previous years, which is what fans of the game like to see, which I'm sure you are if you're watching this Elite Series race as they begin to form up on the grid. Our view, we are going to stick with possibly this view. Wait and see if it switches. And we're going to stay here with F1 Amazing Hour. And 3, 4, 5 lights. And we are racing at Silverstone. F1 Amazing Hour, a bit of wheel spin. Jumpalainen gets a good start as well. This is a tricky corner, high speed. We'll see if everyone gets through. It looks like everyone has a little bit wide. Oh, and someone's gone right off at the back. Shumbo's gone very wide and he's out off the track. I don't think he'll get any damage. We're 3 wide here. We'll go back in through the grid. Haas, he's gone wide as well. In Chapelele, so he's under pressure from the Red Bull in Aaron. Aaron pressuring Haas at the moment. Amazing Hour's got a good start. Jumpalainen a good start as well. And Swaggy, so our top 3 remain in place. The lime green helmet of Aaron has now taken over Chapelele, and he's up into 4th. Plevs has made a move on iContrast. iContrast is battling with Plevs there in the medium tyres, so he's had a great start, iContrast. And those two jostling for position. The McLarens are still together. And it looks like El Tonki's coming through as well. Shumbo is 6 seconds behind, so he has some work to do. They're going very wide on that first corner. But the pumpkin helmet of iContrast holding the Renault of Plevs at bay. and the McLarens have swapped over as well. Back up the front of the grid, we have Red Bulls jostling for position now as Aaron is looking to make a move on Swaggy. He can't get it done. Chapelele has to take evasive action before he went up the rear wing of Aaron in the Red Bull. And this is good racing at the moment. Few people jostling for position. No DRS at the moment, but they are getting some nice slipstreams down the few straights that are here in Silverstone today. And Pure Gold in 6th, so he's gone up 1 position. We will just bring up the position changes so everyone can see that at home. Eye Contrast, a fantastic start up into 3rd. Crossy's done well starting from the back of the grid. He didn't qualify, so we now have 13 races, but Crossy has done well getting up into 11th. He's overtaken El Tonki, and Shumbo is now making up ground from the back. I don't think he would have got damaged, just a little bit of a handicap at the start of the race there. Amazing how it's pulled out over a second on Jumpalainen now, so when DRS activates he won't have that advantage. By contrast, has left the session, has he? He must have an issue because he was in a great position, but it looks like he must have an internet issue. Very unfortunate for Eye Contrast. Dropped out. He was in a great position. There was no reason to rage quit at all, so that must just be an inadvertent internet issue, a connectivity issue. Jumpalainen has put out a nice gap on Swaggy as these 2 Red Bulls squabble with Chapelele. Lime green helmet of Aaron, very distinct. You can see that there, and he's made a move, and he's going to get that move done. Or he's going to undercut, or did they touch? It doesn't look like it. Gee, that was close. Millimeters the front wing from the right rear of Aaron. And that's compromised Swaggy as well. He tried to cut back on the right hand side of the Red Bull and nearly took them both out. They need to be careful, those 2 Red Bull. Christian Horner will be having a hissy fit on the pit wall if they crash into each other, but Chapelele is just watching that in the background, waiting to pounce on the mistake if there is one. And while that's happened, Pure Gold has come up to the top as well, so there's a little bit of a trolley train happening behind Aaron at the moment. We have Aaron, Swaggy, Chapelele and Pure Gold all very close to each other, and now Plebs is catching this train as well. He's under a little bit of pressure from Romy Alonso. As he comes through, and I think that Ghost is still going. I think it came up with Eye Contrast to retire from the session, so disappointing from Eye Contrast. Probably had a few internet issues that possibly ruined his race there, but we'll stick with the action here. We're going to stick with this train that's behind Aaron, although he's pulling away from Swaggy, so maybe Swaggy is at the front of this train. And there's moves being made. Who has gone down? Pure Gold. Pure Gold has crashed. It's gone off the track. I don't know if there's damage. Let's go back up the front because Chapelele has gone in front of Swaggy, so I don't know if there was contact there. Pure Gold was behind Plebs, so I don't believe so. I think Chapelele's just made a very nice move on Swaggy, who's falling back from that 3rd position. And there is a little bit of a gap between Aaron and Chapelele now as well, so he'll be wanting to catch that up. Plebs just in the background, observing. He's having to defend a little bit from the McLaren of Romy Alonso. Crossy, look at Crossy in the Mercedes. And Pure Gold's out, so he must have hit the wall and bounced back off. Or he's just decided that it's a bridge too far. Jumbo is catching El Tonki very slowly, but he'll be back in the mix. There's still points on offer here. With Eye Contrast disconnected and Pure Gold out, there's only one person going to miss out on some points. Let's see who that will be during this race. And we have a yellow flag in sector 3. Possibly Pure Gold's car. Doesn't look like anyone else has an issue, but amazing hour. What's happening here? Jumpalainen is catching amazing hour. Maybe he's taking a little too easy, and he's in DRS range. So Jumpalainen putting the pressure on our series leader. Amazing hour. We'll stick with this at the front, because this is what we want to see. We want to see a contender. Looks like today that's Jumpalainen. We mentioned this could be one of his favourite tracks, and it does look like it is. And he's really putting F1 Amazing Hour under some pressure now. Just great to see. I have a little gap to Aaron, who's 2.5 seconds behind. Under pressure from Chapelele. We'll cross to that if we see it getting really tight. So I want to show as many overtakes as I can. They're in the background there. They are very close to each other. Little lock up there from Chapelele. Swaggy trying to keep up as well. Now we are with our leader though. Amazing Hour and the Alfa Romeo. Familiar colours at the front of the grid. John Polainen really taking it to the Alpha driver. He's very close now. And we're coming up to lap 5, so now this is where you're starting to think, how many laps can I keep going on these softs? I need to come in, and that could be a key part here, is who pits first, who blinks, who flinches and goes into the pits first. They'll be strategizing, looking at that, thinking, looking at their times. Going to be so important, that strategy now. The DRS Open, he's going to make a move. He makes a move. John Polainen into the lead of the British Grand Prix over Amazing Hour. He's trying to cut back. He's right up the gearbox, sticking to him like glue. So close. I doubt John Polainen can see him in the mirrors. And he's going to stick with it. Coming into the straight. There's no DRS here, but it is a fast corner. And he's just going to try and hold that right up the back. He is very close through all of those corners. And just sticking to him. Crossy gets a 3-second time penalty. So close. There's no margin for error here between those two drivers. As Amazing Hour wants that position back. Not too happy at being passed. A little DRS down that straight. Wasn't close enough to make a move. This is tricky. You don't want to make a move here. There's only a few real passing points at Silverstone. It looks like Swaggy's taking Chapelele while all this was going on with these front runners. It's John Polainen trying to shake the Alpha that's glued to the back of his gearbox at the moment. That's all he can see, and now the pressure of being out in front is all on John Polainen. Chapelele gets a 3-second time penalty. That'll hurt him at the end of the race. It looks like they're very close, to 2 Red Bulls and the Haas. Just go to this battle that's happening here as we see the Haas trying to make a move. DRS down the straight, but the other Red Bull does. They're going to go 3 wide into this corner. And there's going to be contact. Never spun around. Swaggy has spun around. A little bit of contact. And he's spun around. He's trying to get back on. And he has retired from the session. Not happy with that. Ruined his race. But they were 3 wide there. They need to be a little bit more careful. And Aaron and Chapelele get to continue on as Swaggy is out of the race. Which means everyone still racing gets a point. As Plebs is caught up to that battle now as well, and Romy Alonso. There's still another little train forming behind Aaron, and I get the feeling that something more is going to happen with this as we go back to the front. Amazing Hour still all over the back of John Polainen. He's that crazy ex-girlfriend that refuses to let go. He's just all over him still. Will not yield, and John Polainen's going to have to be on his A game and not make any mistakes. Otherwise, Amazing Hour is right there to pounce and take that lead back that he holds so dearly. And what we might do now is we'll go on board with Amazing Hour so we can see how he's approaching this. Ooh, gets very close. Braking a lot later than John Polainen there. But it'd be good to stay on board here so we can see just what he's trying to do. Yes, about 50% ERS, so he's got plenty to work with here. It's a tricky track on ERS. You have to decide when and where to use it, otherwise you'll use it all. It's not one of those easy tracks where you just flick it on at the same points. You use it in certain places, and he'll be trying to store it up enough so he can have a real hot go when he's close enough. Very nicely down there. Only 3rd on that corner. Most people take that 2nd, even 1st sometimes. So very interesting that he only went down to 3rd. could be why jumper lining got a little bit out on him there. So they're doing that to minimize the amount of wheel spin out of that corner, because yeah, you do have to short shift very well. He took that nicely though, very late apex. Jumper lining holding firm here. And Aaron and Shepalele look like they're gonna resume hostilities as well. They're also very close, as we can see. A little wide there from the Haas. But we will no doubt see another battle coming between this Red Bull, this new driver, Aaron, L3, F4, and Shepalele. And Plevs, Romy just waiting to take advantage. And Crossy not too far behind. Having not qualified, he's doing well, creeping up the grid. Shumbo, in the meantime, has also taken over El Tonki at the back of the grid. And his next real rival is Danny. By contrast, is a Ghost. As he had some internet issues, it appears. I just want to make sure everyone is aware of that. Danny has gone into the pits though, the first one to blink. First into the pits. Oh, and here we go. Shepalele's making the move. Aaron gives him room on the inside. Nice driving, cuts back. Oh, a lock up there from Shepalele. He's going to try and cut. He's hit him. He's just hit him straight in the back. And Aaron is lucky to stay on the track there. And Shepalele, that's not great. He'll have damage at the front of his car. And I feel Aaron's probably got away with that one the best out of the two. Shepalele would have to have wing damage. He'll have to come in and swap that wing over. It's going to cost him a lot of time. Plevs just went bang. I'm taking advantage of that. He's up into fourth and looking for a podium now. Chasing down Shepalele. But I'm not sure what happened then. He did get a better exit, but just went straight up the back. Instead of sort of taking advantage and going around. These cars are solid. You can't go through them. Just needed to be aware there's a car in front of him. Trying to stay on the track. And let's look at the front of this car. There's no end plates missing. So maybe he hasn't taken damage. Although Plevs is starting to catch him there. Romy takes Plevs. He goes into the pits. And yes, Haas goes into the pits as well. Shepalele. Plevs will stay out there. He needs to push now. He needs to push. Amazing Hour is into the pits. Let's stay with Amazing Hour. And see how quickly he can get his stop finished. He wants to undercut jumper line in here. Critical stop, well done. As he comes out, I'm going to stay with jumper line, and I think because when he comes around, it'll be interesting to see who's undercut and if Plevs can push, get into the pits. We won't see if that overcut or undercut works until he has his pit stop. He may come in next lap. Jumper line, and is he going to stay out or come in this lap as well? As all the action, everyone in the pits. Romy Alonso's in the pits. Rossi's in the pits as well. He's coming out. So everyone's blinked at the same time. Probably all listening to Jeff. Jeff has the sage advice. Apart from when it's going to rain. I think he's a bit confused about the rain sometimes, old Jeff. Might need to do what a few actual F1 teams need to do and just hold your hand out from under that pit wall and see if it's raining or not. And while I'm talking about this, jumper line and comes round. Let's see if he goes into the pits now. It looks like he is. He'll go into the pits. And we'll see if that extra lap has cost him or if it's helped him hold that position. He may have some work to do. And Plevs is also in the pits. Nicely done to not get a speeding fine / penalty coming in there. Locked them up but stayed under the pit limiter. And Jumbo is doing alright for himself, making up ground. Let's stay with the Renault, see where he comes out and where jumper lining comes out. So they're both going down the pits. Looks like Plebs is actually a little bit closer than I thought. And F1 Amazing has taken back the lead of the race. The undercut has worked. And it's coming up at about a 1.1 second undercut, which is very nice for Amazing Hour. So coming in on that lap 10 has worked beautifully. It's about a second difference there. And Chapelele's come out still in front of Plevs. Romy Alonso didn't work out for him. He was right behind Plevs, so his outlap was not what he wanted to be. He's a second behind. That's a terrible outlap for Romy on those mediums. Considering we saw F1 Amazing Out jump John Polainen, hasn't worked out for the McLaren of Romy Alonso, and he's under pressure from Aaron, and it's been terrible for Aaron. He has lost positions. Oh no, he had that incident with Chapelele. I apologize. I briefly forgot about that incident with Chapelele. So we'll go back up to Plevs, who's having a look at Chapelele, but Aaron right on the gearbox of Romy Alonso, and he wants his position back. He needs to fight his way back up the field after that little love tap on the rear end from Haas. Chapelele. And I'd just like to remind you that provisionally our leader is still Amazing Hours. Shumbo and El Tonki have not come into the pitch yet. I'd be interested to hear from Shumbo what happened to him at the start. Maybe cold tires or cold brakes. He went very wide on that first corner, possibly even taking evasive action. And if that's the case, doing that was probably better than getting some damage and having to come into the pits. Bit of an odd viewpoint here of Romy Alonso. You see the Renault in Plevs chasing down Chapelele. So it's been an incident-packed British Grand Prix so far. We are not even halfway yet. One lap until we are halfway. And then we will be on the back end of this race, but plenty of water to go under the bridge here with Amazing Hour 1.4 seconds in front of John Polainen. Amazing Hour's coming up to his teammate Tonki. Will team orders come into play here? This is for position. Tonki doesn't need to get out of the way, and he should race as best he can. It looks like Amazing Hour can make that pass happen. Tonki giving plenty of room there. A little bit of team orders, niceties. Will he hold up John Polainen? That's the next question. Shumbo's on the mediums here, and he's on that alternate strategy, so hopefully he's putting in some nice laps so that he can catch up. Mercedes driver, a tough first outing in the Elite Series for Shumbo. He's raced very nicely in other series around the place. But that gap is getting larger now. The mediums are not working out for John Polainen at all. He overtakes El Tonki down this straight. But it's a 3-second gap, and these mediums are not switching on for the Haas. It appears that Esports is imitating real life. And this Haas cannot get these tyres switched on either. Lev's only 0.7 behind Chapelele now. Go to that battle. And Romney has dropped off. El Tonki, a 3-second time penalty for warnings. Could affect him near the end. It depends how close he is to the cars in front. That'd be sort of Danny or Shumbo, although it appears Shumbo is pulling away. Still on board with Chapelele here. Let's go on board with Plevs, the Renault driver, co-host in the podcast. If you haven't listened to the podcast, I recommend you go and have a listen. We have a pretty good time in there. Give our thoughts on everything F1 esports and race spec esports. And we answer all your questions that come from the Discord. Some are great, some not so great, but we try and answer them all. He's chasing down Chapelele, who doesn't have too much damage, if any damage at all. Just that little love tap has spun Aaron around, and Chapelele's managed to get away with it. It's very interesting. Red Bull will be fuming with that. Aaron especially in his helmet, although he's making up ground, and he'll want another crack at Chapelele later on in the race, because he is slowly catching. He's only 0.6 now behind the McLaren of Romy Alonso. And it doesn't look like we're going to have a rain-filled race either, unless there's a late rain. It's getting slightly darker. Have to wait and see. Plebs just can't make up the distance here. Chapelele is holding that gap at 0.7. Chapelele, if he stays in DRS, you should be able to stick to him. Will help him. Oh, he's got very close there. Chapelele made a little error there. Plebs had to compensate for that one. Crossy's got a 3-second time penalty. That'll hurt him as well. See a friend request would have come up earlier. Just ignore those. They're just some people getting ready, because I will be hosting the Global Series, which is happening half an hour after this race. In fact, 2 tiers in the new Global Series and Spec Esports. And I think there's only 2 spots left. So if you're interested, you'd want to snap one of those drives up quick. Plebs makes the move on Chapelele, and it looks like he's going to get it done. Little lock up from Haas. And that's going to cost him as well, because now Romy's going to have a crack at him. I know he's still about at 1.9 seconds. It looked like he was closer in the background there. And Plebs needs to pull away from Chapelele now. Going nicely through. High speed right-hander into Maggots and Beckett's. And he's holding that position nicely and slowly pulling away. That gap may come down with DRS. Will Chapelele have a look? He is going to have a look. Oh, just a little look. Just a little look. Just to let Plebs know, I'm still here, mate. I'm still here and still fighting for this. As it looks like Eye Contrast, El Tonki both in the pits. So Plebs holding that position. Jumper line and 2.6 seconds behind Amazing Hour, who's out in front, quite comfortable now. Jumbo just overtaken by Jumper line in there on his worn out mediums. And these two at the front, Amazing Hour and Jumper line, have about a 9 to 10 second gap from Plebs, who's now on the podium. In fact, very nice driving from Plebs so far. Hasn't got down and dirty in all the squabbling that's been happening, just biding his time, racing consistently and managing to get himself on the podium at the moment. Depending on what Shumbo can do on the soft tyres, he'll be coming late, I have no doubt. Though Chapelele doesn't want to give up this podium so easily. Still within that DRS second of Plebs, and waiting for now Plebs to make a little bit of an error. I think it was an error from Chapelele that opened the door there for the Renault driver. And now Tonki's come out of the pits and he's in 11th, so effectively 10th. Not too bad for him there. I think our contrast is reconnected, has he? That was very wide for a ghost, so maybe he has reconnected and he's back into the race. Doesn't look like he's ghosting now, so he may be back. Which will make it very interesting. Shumbo's in the pits now, and we'll see where he comes out. It looks like he's going to come out in front of El Tonki. That first lap incident has cost Shumbo this race. Not so much this race, but a good showing at the very least. About 5 seconds behind Danny, so there's still positions to be made up. He is on the soft tyres now. Got about 9 laps to do on those. So possibly he can catch on the softs. Very possible. El Tonki, he's still got some running on those softs to do as well, so he could catch Danny D as well. He could come under pressure later on in the race. Chapelele very close. Who plays there? He must have had a look. not able to get it done as Aaron is making his way back up the field. He's now on the back of Romy Alonso in the McLaren as well. So let's see how this one goes. As we remember Aaron getting love tapped into a little spin. He's oh, there's a little bit of damage. No, nicely done. No contact there. Just a little bit of stuttering, a little lock up from the Red Bull, but it looks like Romy Alonso's lost this position. Oh, a little bit of wheel spin there. He had to correct it. But he's lost that position to Aaron, who is now on the hunt for his nemesis, Chapelele. Could we be seeing a new rivalry developing here? Oh, Romy's got no ERS left. That's going to be an issue for him to try and get that position back, that's for sure. Possibly using it. And Aaron's got none left either, about 10%, so he's going to need to save some. And Chapelele is making a move on the Renault, and he's taking that podium position back. This could be a good battle between these two to the end of the race. And just look at their ERS, similar, so they do have room to move with their ERS to try and get another overtake happening, but Levs is going to want to stay within that DRS range, make sure Chapelele doesn't get away. But this has been great racing. Really good racing between everyone today. Sort of first and eighth. Very nice. A lot of overtaking. Oh, Plevs, a little wide. Kicked up some dust there. Kicked up a bit of dirt. He's managing to stay in touch though with that DRS. Be careful coming out into that straight. Can lose traction. And John Polina not making up much ground on Amazing Outs, about 2.9 seconds. Chapelele is good 11 seconds away from these two front runners, so they're off in the distance by themselves. But Chapelele is not too concerned about that because he has some big problems behind him in terms of a yellow Renault driver by the name of Plebs, who is 0.4. And we have a yellow flag. Is Danny gone off? Looks like he's in trouble. A lot of damage on the right hand, that front of that McLaren. That's gonna open the door for El Tonki and Shumbo, and he needs to get that sorted. I wouldn't be retiring though. There's points up on offer here, but he's got to get that in the pits. He must have had a huge shunt. Just come back to Levs and Chapelele. Just holding that distance, He's building a bit of ERS to make a move. Aaron still hasn't managed to gain much ERS himself. 2.6 seconds now behind Plebs. And Romy Alonso also keeping in touch. Crossy's like the forgotten man in this race up here. A lot like Carlos Sainz, the cameras don't see much of him at all, but he's there making moves, getting things done, and that's Crossy this race. As we'll cross over to Crossy, in fact, and we'll give him a little bit of airtime for his sponsors in the Mercedes, and not too far behind Romy Alonso, so still points up for him if he wants them. He's got 2 seconds to make up 6 laps to do it. Possible, very possible. He has made up 6 grid positions. We have to remember he started at the back of the grid. Also has the pumpkin helmet. I'm going to be rocking that in the Global Series after this Elite Series as well. We need to release more great helmets like that. Makes it a bit fun, a little bit different. I like it. Plebs still close, and if I know Plebs, he'll be biding his time, taking his time, and just waiting for Chapelele to make a mistake. He'll be hoping that comes in the next 3 or 4 laps. If not, then he will really push and turn everything up to get that done. At the end, he's going to get it done here, in fact. DRS, great move, very close. Wheels very close to each other, and oh, nearly touched again. Are they going to touch again? It's a bad camera angle. I'm trying to get a better angle, but it looks like Plebs is going to hold his position. staying strong, holding track position, and the Haas had to yield, but that was good racing from both. Went wheel to wheel through a few corners there. And now the Renault. Plevs, I was just saying he's going to take his time, and as I was doing that, he went complete opposite of what I said and overtook. So what do I know? But very good driving from both of those drivers there. And Aaron, 2.8 seconds behind. He's not really making up much time to these two, even though they are battling each other. He's not able to close that gap. Maybe he's worried about Romy Alonso, who's not very far behind him, but this Haas is very close to Plevs again. I feel like this battle is going to go right to the end of the race here. Upper line is 2.3 seconds. He's eaten a little bit of time out for Amazing Hour. I don't know if he'll be able to make it all up in the 5 seconds we have left. 5 laps we have left though. And we're going to have to stick with this. We've got two little battles. They're quite close to each other. We're going to stick with them. Plevs, Chapelele, Aaron, and Romy Alonso. And it looks like Chapelele's getting ready to have a look. Oh, he's just went left and right on the inside, and he's completely lost it. He went way too deep into that one. That's not even an overtaking opportunity, I don't feel, at that place on the track. And it didn't look like there was contact. He just completely lost it. Went left, went right, and then fishtailed out, lost the rear end. And Plevs now looking very handsome for a podium today. And Chapelele's managed to regather his car, but he's back into 8th. Terrible. He was racing so well. Speaking about consistency and taking your time, and that was not on the cards then for Chapelele. And now Aaron has moved up into 4th. A great showing from the new driver. You should be pretty happy with that for the rest of the race. 2.4 seconds behind the Renault and Plevs. And Shumbo is only 5 seconds behind Chapelele, who's going to have to try and catch the Ferrari, but I just don't feel like it was the right place. He needed to take his time. There's a couple of nice DRS zones where you can get overtaking done. Most people have been doing it near the end of the lap. It's a good overtaking place. He could have got it done there. Just save your ERS and gun it down there, and he chose not to. And he got himself all crossed up. All crossed up, going into that high-speed right-hander. And it's cost him. I mean, if there was contract, I don't think that's Plevs' fault either, because this is not a place to be doing these silly things. We'll move on though, and like Amazing Hour, Jump Line and Plevs could be our podium unless mistakes happen. But 3 laps left. They just need to keep it on the track, keep it nice, quick and consistent, and they'll be our top 3 today. Aaron 2.6 is not making any headway into Renault. Will switch over to Aaron and Romy Alonso. There's a battle here for 4th going on. Romy's been quietly behind him for the last 3 or 4 laps at least. Also looking for an opportunity, I guess. Hasn't been able to take that up yet. But he's got a whole lot of Oranje McLaren in his rear vision mirrors, Aaron. And let's see how the newcomer handles this pressure. He's been pretty quick, an experienced driver. Expect nothing less in this Elite Series. I expect him to maybe hold this position. Just check. The big problem Romy is going to have is that Aaron has been monitoring and saving up his ERS. So he has about 40% to play with, where Romy is on no percent. He's used it all up, trying to stay on the back of him. Brought it back to 10% through the braking there, but going to have a tough time as Danny sets a fastest lap on those softs that he came in for, having to repair his front nose, looking for an extra point for fastest lap. And he has it at the moment. He's at 11th though, and if we believe our contrast is reconnected, so he won't get the fastest lap unless he can get himself into 10th, but he's 30 seconds behind our Tonki. I don't see that happening. We're in a bad view there. We'll try and switch it, and they're both bad views. We'll just wait till those camera angles change. with Romy Alonso. Eye contrast and Crossy are battling it out. I did not see them catching up to each other. The two pumpkin heads, Ferrari, Mercedes, duel for the ages as Eye contrast holding that position. Crossy wants another look. Eye contrast, maybe his tyres are starting to fall off a cliff. Being on the softs, he's got 2 laps left on those softs. And these mediums could be holding up rather well, although he's just jumped out of a gap. He probably compromised himself trying to get that overtake done, and he's going to have to close the gap to have another look. Romy still half a second behind. I can't see that move being done based on how much ERS both drivers have. If Aaron uses his ERS correctly down these straights, throws it into hot lap, and then on the low through places like Maggots and Beckett's, he'll be able to hold him off, I think. No matter what the DRS situation is, I think if you cleverly use your ERS, you can hold people off on this track, which I think is what's going to happen. Crossy's now falling behind. By contrast, looks like he's going to take that 6th position here today, providing he's reconnected, which we do believe he has. As Romy, no, he is going to get it done. What do I, again, proving me wrong. It looks like Aaron is on the outside. Romy's got no ERS. Aaron's got 44%. He's going to hold that position. Oh, it goes right around the outside. He's compromised now on the inside. And it's sent McLaren wide. It's sent Romy Alonso very wide there. He's going to cut back in, coming on the late apex of that corner. And Aaron's going to hold his position. He needs to use this ERS because Romy is all over the back of him. 2 laps left, or a lap and a half, and Romy's not going to let this go. He wants that 4th position. Great racing between those two. Could have been very easy to punt each other off the track. Held their lines, held their positions nicely. Fair racing all around. A little bit off the track there from Romy. Pushing hard. As Aaron has used up all his ERS to try and stay in front. I wouldn't have recommended that, as Romy's going to have a look on the inside, and he's pushed. Has he pushed Aaron around? I'm not sure whether he's lost it or he's pushed him around. Both are possible. We'll have to wait and see, but that's cost. Aaron's been nudged and pushed around again. He will be going berserk in that helmet. That's the 2nd time that's happened to him on the same corner. If indeed Romy has nudged him around, which we are not sure about. It's a corner that you can lose the rear end. So it is possible. But that's costly. Costly for Aaron. He had such a great race. He's been spun around twice. And he's managed to come back up into 4th, 5th. And he's been nudged around again, possibly. We'll throw the word allegedly in there, as we are unsure, but costly. Eye contrast is all over Romy here as well. This is on the last lap. And Eye contrast might be looking for a 4th here. He's got a lot of ERS. He could get it done. Our front runners are going to cruise to victory. We want to stay with this in case there's more action. Eye contrast racing hard against Romy Alonso. Right all up the gearbox of Romy. He goes a little wide, touches a bit of dirt there. And F1 Amazing Hour crosses for the win. We'll cut back to them. And Eye contrast is getting that move done. A little bit of dirt. Romy's not going to give it up. He's still right off the back of him here. There's only a couple of corners left. Oh, he's tried to dive down the inside. He's thought better of it. Don't be silly. Just take the 5th. And he has. He's taken 5th. Great driving from Eye contrast there. Although penalties mean Romy Alonso takes it anyway. Takes 4th because of the penalties. Chapelele 6th. Aaron 7th, Crossy 8th, Shumbo 9th. Good drive from him after that first lap incident. El Tonki and then Danny D will come over last. You just need to wait for El Tonki to finish his lap. But a great race, action-packed, overtaking all over the track. Congratulations to Amazing Hour, who takes another win there. Was pushed by Jumpalainen, got the move done in undercut in the pits, so that couldn't get the pass done on track, had to use the pits. Smart strategy there, went in that 1 lap before Jumpalainen and got it done. Plevs, very nice drive to finish third on the podium. He'll be happy with that podium, I'm sure. But incident field, we had a few people nudged in the back, spun around. Easy to do on this track. Very nice drive from Aaron. He's been spun twice, finished 7th. Although he should be happy with his drive, he will be a little disappointed having those 2 incidents. The first one with Chapalele and then that one with Romy Alonso. And here we are with the podium. Amazing hour. The podium again, Jumpalainen and Plevs, regulars of the Elite Series. And we see Alfa Romeo, Haas and Renault. We will wait till this finishes to bring up the final standings so we can have a look at those. But very well done from Amazing Hour again. Very consistent. Holds on for the win this time, but challenged again this time. So a few more people are stepping up to the plate and challenging Amazing Hour for these victories, which is good to see. And here we go, the final standings. Those penalties did jumble it around a little bit near the end there, as everyone was so close to each other. But thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the race. It was action-packed, a lot of overtaking, which is what we love to see, and a fantastic British Grand Prix. I will see you next time. Thanks for joining us again. See you next week.